dragon's blood. And if there are no questions, suggestions, hypotheses, or any other corners we need to round off, I'd like to say a many hundredfold exponential thank yous for sharing this hobby with me, for reigniting my love for tabletop and giving me the opportunity to watch these characters grow, to explore their lives, their failures, their victories, and all of the steps in between. And this is officially Soup City Sins Season 10 Epilogue. Each other lives. Would everyone be so kind as to go ahead and roll a Dexterity Athletics plus Celerity if you have it, and if you don't, well, just Dexterity and Athletics, because it is a community effort at this point because of the efforts of Vivi to attract attention at the doorway, firing just above the crowd of the few stragglers who have not made it out to the parking lot, who have not struggled to reach their vehicles and escape this place. The three musicians, their lead soprano and their two backing artists, have managed to focus roughly on not just where they are, but the area around them. And you can watch as the stress and strain of holding such a high note begins to show. Even on her vampiric face, there's the vitae-tinged sweat of effort, while the two backing artists, having ducked for cover and split apart, are now moving back towards one another to combine their full sonic might in your area. Not a focus attack, not a general bombardment, but it is clear that they are ramping up for something considerably more destructive.
So is this in addition to the one we made in the...
Yes, what happened thus far as a result of you all's roll, you all managed to get to your quarter numbers, you've managed to spin, you've managed to begin making your way out, and you, with Dizzy and Hestia moving as quickly as they are, there should not be anyone who could clearly target them. And it's clear that these artists have dealt with other faster than thought kindred, and instead of trying to target them specifically, are bombarding the area. It is literally going from using your 50 caliber to do a small burst fire to somehow switching it into full auto and destroying the entirety of the forest. What happened was, instead of a targeted sniper shot or casual cannon bombardment, that scene in Predator, the original Predator with Arnie, where they mowed down the entirety of the forest, the trees, the grass, the very air that existed there. And that's what these three are attempting to do. No longer simply bombarding with the light touch of sonic waves, causing a disorientation and a loss of focus. No, this is the obliterate everything in its path.
Now, you had alluded before that this had shades of what went down in Dalton for Dizzy. Is this exactly what went down in Dalton?
Oh no, but the destructive fact of walking into a nightclub and having the world turn into a very horrific, nightmarish version of itself is hard to live down. There is a natural facet of the human mind, and by extension the kindred mind, to draw connections and parallels. Dizzy entered into a nightclub on what should have been an easy, casual, nice opportunity to feed, and then the world turned sideways. Everyone that she cared about ceased to be, either immediately or shortly thereafter. Dizzy entered into a nightclub with people that she was in, not love, but a familiar understanding of. They had their ups and their downs. On an easy night, the music was good, the vibe was decent, things were happening, yes, but things always happen in a nightclub. Things always happen. People always find a way to make the best of the worst and the worst of the best. But having everything ripped away from her is a parallel that is hard to escape, especially when, just as surprisingly, just as like a strike of lightning, things turned on their head And that's exactly what happened here. Things were moving at their own pace. People were vibing to the music. The bass was undeniably moving. And even with people being kindred gathered, the thin bloods here, even with them being considerably more ostentatious in their displays of feeding, even with them being a little more forceful in their attempts to make themselves enjoyed, it has been a relatively peaceful moment, considering. Yes, people are assholes. Yes, kindred are monsters. But there was no mass destruction. There wasn't the risk of someone's life. And that's the parallel. And that's the connection. And that is what's hard to shake. That unlike all of the other situations the Coterie have been involved in, the danger that has arisen is exponentially higher than it should be for an evening at a nightclub.
All right, I just figured there was a line between get the fuck out and homing missile, and I was trying to figure out which side of that line she was on.
Well, for those of us minorly tactically minded, as everyone spins on their heels and they're moving as quickly as they can, Vivi is in the doorway. Vivi has opened a path of escape. Unfortunately, that path of escape also helps with them focusing in on the area. We're going to obliterate not just them, but everything around them. And it's almost if you have dialed into their telepathic communication between one to the next. And as wave after wave of operatic level voice control blends into a physical weapon, you watch as the few stragglers who die for cover instead of running past, those few people who attempted to leap over the VIP area couches and overturn tables, and those people who are trying to die off of the police, and those people who fell, as eardrums literally sound like bubble wrap at the end of a stressful day. There's a people start screaming off tune. There's a immediate sense of pain as you watch people fall, trip, and go limp because of the sheer concussive force of what those three are doing. Making it outside, having watched the humans fall, having watched the glass that made the place seem so much above its suburban area shatter as if there was a bomb targeting them, and watching the car windows within 60 feet of the door shatter and explode, and those within 100 feet of the door crack and look as if they've been bombarded with golf clubs. Knowing that it's that level of destruction, when that these kindred have something afoot and have targeted this area, because they are clearly full-fledged kindred and not thin blood, not dustborn, as you all manage to make it just outside of the range of efficacy and are near the van, what is it that you choose to do?
So we're outside now? Is that right?
Yes, both Dizzy and Hestia have celerity.
But Lucio doesn't, so did he make it?
He was carried, yes.
Dizzy grabbed you. Dizzy went for Lucio and Hestia went for Melinda, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
Lucio's going to, more out of spite than anything else, Lucio is going to try and take one last headshot at one of them before we get into the van.
I mean, I would probably scoop him up and fireman carry him anyway. He could probably shoot while I'm running, but we're moving really fast, so...
I'm not going to give you any minuses. A call shot normally requires a -2. But if you haven't noticed, one of the things that I do is try not to minimize your die pool as often as possible. And as such, instead of your DC being the same DC of 4, your DC will be for a headshot 7, for a torso shot DC 6.
And the dice pool?
Fire from the hip in the middle of stress, dexterity plus firearms.
Dex and firearms. 5. If I may, can I surge to
Yes.
get a boost?
Yes, you may.
I think how do you not get hungrier?
Oh, your little beastie hasn't risen his head yet. But you can feel it there, crawling around like an old friend. The spider that lives in the corner. Doesn't bother much, but it's there. And it watches you. And it waits for the opportunity.
I can't wait to see how this plays out.
Well now, with no failure, with no misfire, with no jamming, there is a sudden realization as Lucio aims as they move. Fuck, does he strong. God damn, we're moving fast. And the shot goes awry. It misses your target. However, the coach house is mostly wood, so you are sure that it hit something. You're not sure what was on the other side of that wall, whether it was a kitchen, which it was, whether it was a fire suppression system, or a fryer or a gas tank, which it was a fire suppression system. And as that shot rockets through the wall, and you hear the of a powdery explosion in the kitchen. It doesn't stop there. There is a smoke and steam effect as the fire suppression system, which has been tied into the sprinkler system, which is tied into, it's the suburbs. They don't really do codes if they can slip a small donation toward the inspector. And it's clear that the coach house is much of a similar mindset, and the building fills with this powdery ichor from this fire suppression system and the less than clean water of the sprinkler system, as amidst the shattering glass and the screams of pain and the people fleeing, it looks as if someone attempted to tar and feather someone in baking soda and flour with egg as the water and the powder mixes. There's hundreds of people walking out looking as if they were at a drug bust gone wrong. And you know that there's nothing gas, because there wasn't an immediate explosion, there wasn't a fire, there wasn't anything big, there wasn't anything noticeable. It's just a destruction of people's clothing and their faces, and them having to deal with burst eardrums and equilibrium being off. And as you all get into the van, you see a pillar of smoke, black and thick, raising into the sky from behind the building.
Oh no. Look. How long do we have for the cops to get here? I need to go check on something.
I mean, this ain't our circus, right?
It's not, but the Baron went to the hidey hole, but I have a bad feeling that somebody was waiting in the hidey hole for the Baron, and they locked themselves in there, and then now that smoke is coming up, and it's probably a bad sign.
I mean, I'm all for letting the Hardy Boys solve this one and we can read about it in the paper.
You know
Aren't
what?
we the Hardy Boys of the city? We are the house.
This is Anarch territory. It's not our circus.
Frankly, Disney's very much right. We weren't even really supposed to be here tonight.
Oh, I hope no one else knew we were here, otherwise this is gonna look really bad for us.
Well, the Baron knew, and if the Baron's dead, then, you know.
Yeah, any involvement we have is going to be turned against us, right? Either by the big wigs, or we're going to get blamed for killing the Baron if we run in there, or, you know, it's a giant shit show.
You're right, we don't need to borrow any further problems. I think we should leave for now. Try to come back to the other thing we were going to check out another night.
Did we actually achieve what we had come here for? Did we find them?
No, we did not find.
I mean, I fucked a thin blood up pretty good that tried to feed on me.
I had a similar experience, and then they started screaming quite loudly about it, as you all saw.
So, you caused that, or what did I see that wrong?
Maybe?
Someone there, to assassinate the Baron, and I found out too late.
Hold on, what?
Melinda said that there was somebody there to assassinate the Baron, and I tried to get the Baron out, but I think I might have sent them right towards the trap. It wasn't my choice, though. The Baron picked me up and ran with me like I was a freaking toddler.
Well, then you didn't send them. They made all the decisions, right?
Yeah, because I had no choice. I said we need to get out of here. She picked me up and ran with me like a football.
I mean, it's all very unfortunate, but not our circus.
I'm sorry, are we just glossing over the fact that this was a planned assassination and we just happened to be there and either accidentally thwarted it or accidentally caused it?
I mean, didn't we just decide to come here on a whim? So it's not like they had inside info or anything to coordinate this. I think it was just some more bad luck for us because we seem to just walk into a shit show everywhere we go.
Aren't we cursed? I feel like this is part of the curse.
I don't know, but I'm swearing off bars because every time I go in a bar, something fucked up happens.
You're swearing off bars?
Only because something fucked up happens every time I go in one.
Well, not every time. Not every single solitary time. There was a time when... Oh, well, yeah, there was... No. And then... No. And then... Yes. No. No. Swing off bars and nightclubs is very good.
Well, what about that one nightclub that we all went to? Oh wait, Dizzy didn't come with us then. Huh? Maybe that's why nothing terrible happened. Not that I am blaming you for any of this.
I assume this
Whatever.
is all happening while we're driving away.
I can eat a ton of frat boys and be just fine.
Yes, nothing happens bad when you are on the college campus, at all of the keggers and the house parties.
Well, I mean, just that one time, but
Oh no. What happened?
I took care of a Regina.
Glad to see you seem like you're feeling better, Vivi.
I mean, I've got a lot on my mind, so no.
There is a lot of a lot.
I haven't killed anyone today, that's a plus.
The night's not over yet. Did anyone gain any actual intelligence? What is it that we know? Melinda's friends were here at a Dustborn night, supported by the Baron, or seemingly supported by the Baron. There was a plot to execute the Baron, and there were clearly more than Dustborn thin bloods here.
We learned there are some fucked up kindred that can hurt you by singing.
We learned that they apparently can't tell us apart when we're blushing.
I would kind of like to have learned that when I punched them in the throat, they fucking stop.
What are the chances that the assassins are attempting to blame the Dustborn for this?
Not zero.
And didn't you say that the blood trade was very jealously guarding of their trade, and that the Dustborn were entering into that trade?
Didn't we kind of put a kibosh on that when Sylvia had her little accident?
We put a kibosh on Sylvia's Duskborn and them trying to, I guess, take over the city or whatever Sylvia intended to do with them. But I'm guessing they've moved on to bloodier pastures and trying to make a name for themselves in the blood trade rather than blood magic.
How many fucking are there of these guys? I mean, we killed like 100 of them in the street, and there's more?
I swear
I
that...
see a little bit of a connection, though. Remember the Bloodborne that we chased away from the Bloodhouse, and then they exploded or melted or whatever the fuck that was that they did? I said a name. The name of that person is somebody who recently transferred from our Chantry house to Gary. And
You wanted to
had
speak,
really
right?
tight ties with Sylvia. Or
Oh,
one
wait.
of Sylvia's little fangirls.
oh, that I didn't know.
Yeah.
Wait, who's Gary?
Gary, Indiana, they went to get.
Like from that musical?
There's a musical about Gary, Indiana.
No, it's like a song. It doesn't matter. So, okay, it's a place. Never mind.
Gary, Indiana, where Michael Jackson's from. That's where Gary is.
I did not know he was from there.
2800 Jackson Street. Always be my... I don't know the melody. I remember the song.
I mean, when I was a kid, he was just creepy, so I don't know.
But either way, yes. She was recently transferred to the Gary Chantry under Regent Cohen. He was a friend of mine, so I'll have to reach out to him and let Crucible know what's going on, because really didn't want us to kill Sylvia. He was upset about the fact that she's dead. didn't quite seem to care what she was doing with the whole teaching Duskborn magic, but I still think it's important that he know that there were others tied into that whole situation.
Yeah, not gonna lie, when he suggested placing all the blame on me at one point in the conversation, kinda got the impression that he was a clan over everything else kind of person.
Dude, who thinks like that?
Actually, in that case, you might be right. I might just talk to Colin and see what he'll say. And if he wants to take it further, then he can talk to Decibel about it, because now that chick is his problem. So...
Alright, so that's one angle that we are pursuing for the blackmailers.
Can we continue this conversation inside the van while it's moving?
I thought we were.
Yeah, that's what I said. I originally thought as we were talking as we were driving, trying to figure things out.
Oh, well, then scratch that.
No, it's perfectly understandable, considering that the drive from Chicago to Arlington Heights and from Arlington Heights back into the city proper is not exactly the most interesting. There are streets, there are cars, there's the expressway, which if you're smart enough to cut down and around and take the expressway instead of just taking 14 down into the city, is absolutely devoid of anything interesting to look at. The expressway is the expressway. Lots of steel, lots of concrete, lots of just nothing. The same old gray space and barren roadside. The trees and grass put there to break up the view and increase your ability to remain behind the wheel. Even in the Chicagoland area, even with their push for a certain amount of greenery, one of the many mottos of the city is Herbs and Horto, i.e. the city, the green city, the city in green. And yeah, it really doesn't make that huge of a difference, especially at night. Because even though the kindred are creatures of the darkest fantasies, they are just as prey to the dark as any other living thing. In fact, more so than some, because their eyes don't naturally reflect or refract light. What their eyes do is pick out victims, pick out other predators by dint of their continued existence beyond death. And in the flight from Arlington Heights, with everything blurring together into a nothingness, just a blur of motion, several things become apparent. Several things become obvious in the conversation. There is a mind behind the Dustborn, which has remained present and active and focused on finding ways to create problems for others, and in doing so, create problems for themselves. Killing a prince or killing a baron is never a small thing. There's more than enough blame to go around, even for those not directly involved. And flying from Arlington Heights, Coterie realizes that they did not go to the red team company that they were originally going to multitask the evening. They didn't get a chance to taste the joy. Having reached out to G to attack them electronically, there's a certain realization there. This is a company that tests others' security. A company that targets other companies, other white hat hackers, and their ability to protect things that matter. Sending G at them alone, one person against an army of equally or more skilled individuals, there is unfortunately only one outcome. The only question in regards to the outcome is how long will it take before they isolate where she actually is, before they take steps, or before they find some truth that G is one of the member of the damned.
Is anyone other than Hestia aware that she asked G to do that? So I remember she was the one who messaged her. I don't remember if she told us.
I did, because when Melinda was about to run out, or Melinda was running out, I said, hold on, I'm messaging G about this. I think I should go with Melinda.
Alright, so we didn't end up going to the place that we were hoping to tonight. Should we call G off and have her try later when we actually do go here? That way.
Either that, or at least have her get some help, because by herself she's not going to be able to really take them down like that. They're a whole team, and they've been doing this for a while. She's one person. She's good. I don't think she's that good.
I have one person in mind who might be able to help. I think Salt is someone who might be experienced with hacking and tech stuff as well. But I'll be honest, I don't know anyone more than G and Salt.
While they're having this conversation, I'm gonna check on Vivi.
There's a clarity that had not been there moments earlier. Danger, gunfire, the tactical driving, the flight from danger, and the security of the group as a whole seemed to work a magic that no amount of conversation could. A rationalizing it for what it was, a understanding that there are things out there in the dark that the world is simply prey for. It's a sort of response that is trained into, beaten in some cases, and in the worst cases, tortured into members of the armed service, members of our armed forces. And it is clear that there have been equally dark moments in their past, and things that they suffer with, suffer through, and outlast because of simply putting one foot in front of the other and focusing on the task in hand. There's a strength to it. There's also the realization, as someone who has been around the country dealing with the widest slice of humanity, that Dizzy knows there is only one answer to the question of how many straws does it take to break the camel's back. The answer is always one. The last one. And no one knows which one that is until it happens.
So, hey, you've been through a lot tonight. You want me to drive? I can slide over you, take the wheel. You can sit, just breathe, not being responsible for anything for a few minutes. That might be good for you,
No, we're good.
No, you're not good.
In the moment, I am very, very good. And this is something to do.
Sometimes you need to decompress, though. Everyone does.
Are you saying that when troubles arise, we should take a moment to ourselves and sit with our pain and deal with it and analyze it and what? Stop moving? To not continue? To not... If you would like to talk, then we can talk. But I'm driving and it's very bad to distract the driver too much.
I mean, I'm not saying you should curl up in a ball and listen to Morrissey and cut your wrists or anything, but you can take a second to reflect and breathe and try to put it into some sort of context.
The context being that there are bad things in the world. The context being that those bad things, because of our association, will be closer to me than otherwise. Or the fact that those bad things are a random occurrence based on someone else's behaviors, not my choices.
What happened to you tonight is not a thing that's supposed to happen to you. You are going to be in constant danger because of your association with me, but you are not supposed to be bitten.
Do you think that you can protect me from others of your kind? Are you willing to? Is this something that, by being close to you, what about you? What about them? What about your family? Are you going to just put a wall around yourself and keep everyone from getting close? From keeping every life from bleeding?
Remember that conversation we had earlier where I said that to my kind, because of our association, you were basically my property in their eyes?
Yes.
That protects you from certain things, like being bitten.
Does that protect your brother?
It doesn't, but that's a different relationship.
Couldn't you just tell everyone that he's yours?
I mean, I could, but they would wonder why he hasn't been brought into our world. See, because you were with me, you don't have to worry about anyone kicking down your door and dragging you out because you know too much about vampires. I'm trying to stop him from learning about vampires. Really, the only way I can protect him is to put a lot of distance between me and him.
Do you know what this is that we have?
I mean, I don't know what it is. I know what it's supposed to be, but it's not that.
You saved me. I know you don't believe it. I know you don't quite understand. But even as I am dedicated and determined to avenge, to protect, and otherwise utilize the skills that I have learned for my brother, I was prepared to die. That's the loneliness that existed for me. I kept myself as removed as possible the rest of my life, because the end of my road is death. And knowing that it may have been the head of an organized crime family responsible for the death of my brother and his fiancée, I am very much prepared to go down swinging and taking the entirety of the organization down. That has not changed. But along the way, by having you in my life as much as you are, as much as we share, as little as that is, it is the only bit of happiness that I actually have. And I know it was my choice to distance myself from it. And I know it is my choice that eventually I will die. But before then, I will kill everything and everyone that had anything to do with my brother's death. This is the one thing that I know that I can do. And along the way, there will be many bruises, many hurts, and many pains that I will feel. You are the one bright spot. I've never even laid with a man or a woman or any state in between. And yet you are the only bright spot I have in my life. So for you and your friends and your family, I will risk nearly as much as I would until I get the opportunity to kill everything connected with him being taken from me, for him being taken from my family, and for his fiance's family. Every single person, living or dead, connected with that will die.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that later.
Have you found the person specifically responsible? Because I have kept a small bit of intelligence on the Gricio, as you say.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that later.
Oh no, I understand. He may be one of you, like you say, but I've already studied and taken what materials I can from Theus as to how best to make sure that even someone such as you, your kind, will not continue existing.
Like I've said before, I'm glad you're not hunting me.
Oh, I would never. Like I said, you are the one bright spot in my life. And as long as that's not taken from me, then I don't have to go on my hell ride just yet. I can prolong it while I gain more intelligence, while I properly plot and plan a way to lay them low. Truly and completely. So yes, the drive is beautiful, don't you think? Considering normally it's far more wet in our area. Normally Chicago's wrapped in storms and gray skies and nights that remind you that the sky is always crying, that someone up above is thinking of all the hurt that we experience and mourns with us, and then it gets cold. Luckily, it's not that bad yet. And while that conversation is happening in the front seat, Lucio, Asha,
We're silently panicking in the back seat.
You hear what she's saying?
Yeah.
What the hell do we do?
I don't fucking know. Move to Bolivia, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, now running is an option.
Not really, but I don't know what else to fucking do because if it's us versus you know who, it's not gonna go well.
Fuck, I am glad that I moved.
You realize, found you the one time. It's not gonna take her long to find you this time.
Yeah, but this time it's a little bit more secured. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. And if it does,
I don't want to think about that. I don't want it to go there. I really don't. Yeah. It might. Fortunately.
right. Well, let's not think about that for now then. let's consider our plans going forward. Because I'd rather not continue to work independently. I think I definitely work better with the group, bouncing ideas off of everyone, investigating together. That seems like the smart thing for me to do. So, how do we handle our current issues regarding the blackmailers and regarding the Don wanting to meet me?
You definitely are not going by yourself. Obviously, that's not going to happen. He can request you to go by yourself, but that's not going to happen. It's not. He can get over himself because, like you said, we're better as a group. And if he's going to try to pull some magical bullshit, I'm going to be there to make sure he gets checked real quick. But, I don't know. The worst we can do is see what he wants. And the only thing that can happen behind that is either we agree and somehow his positioning helps us, or we disagree, tell him no and leave.
No one responds, but you guys get a little silent as that sound issues from Hestia's phone, which she had just slipped back into her pocket out of sight. Hestia's phone is never on loud. None of you usually have your phone on anything more than vibrate. Usually it's on silent for the most part, but that is a little worrying. Hestia's phone is never heard. No one's phone is heard these days. What the fuck?
Yeah, she's actually looking at her pocket like it's a monster with 3 heads and slowly digs the phone out, seeing if it's still going off.
The caller ID simply says wireless. No identification, no number, wireless caller.
Oh, great, it's the FBI listening in. No, probably
Please
not,
don't joke about that.
Maybe they just want to talk about your car warranty.
Oh, God. Hestia very carefully, like at the bomb, opens the phone. Like, swipes it. Hello?
Stop looking for me. Tell your little hacker friend to do not challenge my company. This is the only warning you're going to get. Next time I reach out to anyone connected with your little hacker friend, I will burn you all to the ground. Do not look for me. Click.
Are they going to forgive your student loan debt?
That sounds like the last thing they're going to do.
Do I recognize the voice at all?
I was just about to ask that too.
No, it sounds like your average cubicle worker. Some guy or maybe some very tall and broad-shouldered woman in the middle of a field of cubicles where the illumination from the computer screens and is the only light that really matters. This is reflected off of several rows of glasses, their headphones in place. And it is clear that this person has designed or learned to project their voice as non-accented as possible. It is the closest to a customer service voice you have heard in a very long time. You don't get telemarketers calls. You don't deal with people who have to seek you out for your car warranty. You don't get those calls, but that very much sounded like the voice behind it. Someone who spends their life in front of a computer screen, talking to people as politely as possible.
The fact that they automatically traced G. Hold on. Estia takes the battery out of the phone.
Lucio's gonna do the same with his phone, although he's pretty sure his just touching the phone is enough.
Yeah.
I'm busy grocery shopping on Tinder, so
That's a fine way to put it. So,
Yeah.
they know, and we just heard the person we're looking for. Do you think there's
Who
any
really
possible
wants us to
way?
stop looking for them.
Do you think there's any way we could trace them from that call?
you could star 69 him and see if he says who he is.
I don't think it'll be that simple with this person.
Wouldn't it be great if it was, though?
Speaking up a little bit so that she can catch Vivi's attention. Any suggestions?
That doesn't sound all that nice, actually. I think that's as close to an official challenge as we can do in these. There was a time when everyone would declare their intentions. People would send ladders and vassals across the land and say, I am going to war with you, associates. I think that's what you all just received. That's a sign that whoever you sent at them, whoever that G person was clearly exploited. Have you received, well, did you receive a text back from G?
No, because I just recently asked them to get back of and told them that the person was dangerous, but I didn't get a reply, so.
That may mean their system is exploited. This G person, is she more like me or more like...
She's more like us, but she is, if I remember correctly, part of Martin's crew. Looks at Lucio.
You mean a clanmate?
Yeah, she's a thug.
She is
What now?
a Nosferatu and a tech expert, yes.
Is there any chance that she would have had other contact information that could be exploited in her system?
Yes, there's absolutely that chance.
There's a chance she has a whole file on every kindred in town.
So, the person that you believe we believe may be behind the blackmail attempts now has more actionable intelligence to blackmail others.
We gotta find them. We gotta find them quick.
Vivi pulls the van over. Now, it's not the easiest thing to do because everyone in Chicago drives offensively. Now, normally people believe that the best offense is a good defense and the best defense is a good offense. Now, Chicago offensive driving is literally, I need to be there, whether you are there or any step between, I am getting there. So after few close calls, you all are on the side of the road. It is clear Vivi is doing this sort of celestial math that doesn't add up to anything positive. Because as sure as the only thing that comes after butt is shit, the sheer skill or the sheer number of employees it would take to bring up someone else's most recent contacts after a attempt at exploiting or being exploited by them is phenomenal. It's the sort of response time that should not be possible unless, of course, they were already aware of the potential exploits possible against them. The sort of thing that Muhammad Ali did in the ring, robo-dope. I'll give you the idea that I'm actually open here so that you tire yourself out, that you work against my defenses while opening up more opportunities for me to put you on your back. The sort of Kansas City shuffle, get everyone looking left and you go right. And with a company of hackers who clearly get paid overtime. Any information exchange with G over the last few months, at a minimum, depending on how quickly she can disconnect, unplug, and burn all of her drives, is already in their hand. And you can see Vivi doing the math and adding it up. In a matter of less than 2 hours, they managed to pull up the most recent contact for G. How many other people has G been in contact with in the last 2 hours? How many other systems has she been running? Is she a multitasker? Is G a she? Is G a he? Doesn't really matter. The person who exploited her system clearly knows. Hestia, before that call, was your phone on loud? Was your ringtone turned up?
No, it shouldn't have been.
Okay. So they exploited not only G's system, but yours in the course of 2 hours. Have you been in contact with anyone else over the last other person like you or person like me?
Actually, this phone was relatively new. I haven't had it for long after the last fiasco. The only person I had recently gotten a phone call from, other than contacting G, was reaching out to, or getting the call from Lucio when we had to go to the blood place. And then like a couple texts from Hound Business, but they're typically really coded. Just give like a location and a meet now type of thing.
So you've given locations, you've talked to Lucio. Do you all have a group chat?
Yes.
Sometime.
Have you all sent a message to the group chat within the last week?
Damn it, I like this phone.
Yes.
Oh, crap. Hestia is like face palming, thinking of the last one that she sent to the group chat, the one that Lucio yelled at her for.
We are 15 minutes from the Haven, from home. 16 if we go to Loyola. We are 22 minutes from Arlington Heights, the way that I drive. Are we going to purge all of our records, or are we going to... Those are our only two choices. It is clear that systems have been it is clear that they have far more information now than they did.
What if
the audio cut out when you gave the second option? What was it?
Cut the head off the dragon.
So what if, and hear me out, what if we pretended that we didn't know all this and used all this as a way to lure him in by saying shit that ain't true on our fucking network?
That's certainly one possibility. I am definitely a fan of cutting the head off the dragon, rather than just leaving us all behind.
And then when we know who he is, I go twist his head off like a fucking Coca-Cola cap.
I think we all deserve a little sampling before you do that. But, as for how we go about this, I am open to suggestions.
Well,
Normally, I don't agree with Dizzy about burning things to the ground, but in this case, it might just be the best course of action. We go firebomb the shit out of that building. It takes everything with it.
you all really are very old, aren't you? People don't keep paper records anymore. The physical location is, well, the hardware is valuable, but it is the software, it is the cloud-based information that is the most valuable. It's the reason why he was able to exploit the system that brushed against his. It is clear that he has traps in place on the internet and in the intranet and in the information transported from one cloud to the next. So destroying the building, yeah, that's fine. Cost him a lot, fine. But we need to find out where he destroyed him and those who know. And the only way to do that is finding him. And she looks pointedly at Lucio. You're a detective. That normally means that you are good at breaking in or at least kicking open doors. That's something that we can do.
Oh, absolutely.
And Dizzy can charm any security guards that may be there. And Hestion. Cybersecurity is modern magic. Many of the practices that I understand are much the same. So your understanding of ritual and wards will come in handy. So are we going to go burn this place down, literally and metaphysically, while finding the leader? Or would you all like to go home, maybe get some breakfast, and forget about this?
Let's do this.
Wait, what are we doing?
Kicking ass and taking names.
No, so really, what are we doing?
We're going to drive back to Arlington Heights. We're going to go to the company and we're going to raid it for as much information as we can to find the owner, where they live, and then you're going to treat him as if he is being very, very rude to you at the wrong moment.
Right. Okay.
Unless, of course, you would like to go for breakfast. I could go with that. I haven't eaten 3 hours.
I mean, I don't really eat, but you do you.
Excellent. She wheels back onto the expressway, up and off the ramp, down and around and back, going northwest of the city. It is a thing to behold. The van is what most people call a church van. It can seat 12 easily, which means you guys have more than enough space to spread out and enjoy the ride. But unfortunately, again, there's really not much to enjoy on the expressway at night in Chicago at this time of year. Any time of the year, really. But as you all make your way back into Arlington Heights, and she guides you towards the company's headquarters without mapping it out with GPS. Several things click into place. It is clear that while she was part of military intelligence, that there were other skills that were utilized by her, by our government. And it is a very scary thing knowing that there are some more skilled, some more passionate, some bent towards specifically removing the kindred from existence. Many of which, due to their soldier's heart or PTSD or any number of mental issues leading them down a poor path, wind up in the clutches of theists and their sister and fraternal organizations, their sorors and fraternity and fraternal orders. Many members of the armed forces fall on hard times with their inability to blend in with the average citizen. There's a switch that was flicked in their head, that was beaten into them, that was traumatically scarred into the very fabric of being, that there is no return from. They need a mission. And Theist and the Knights of St. Judas and the Special Affairs Division give them that purpose, give them that mission, give them a reason to not go into the dark and never return. You guys come to a skidding stop outside of the building. It looks exactly like so many others that it would be almost impossible to pick out of a lineup. It is a 6-story tall building, red brick, lots of glass. It blends in with the other buildings in this corporate park. And if you didn't have the address or you didn't know where it was, you would never be able to find it. The building looks exactly like 17 others in this corporate park of varying heights, varying widths, and various landscaping details, but they are all minor details. And each of these buildings looks the sort of place where people go to have their soul drained out of them. Each call making their day worse, each report draining a little more of their childish happiness. Each, hey, how's the day? Living the dream. Weighing them down, making them smaller, squeezing them into the shape of their cubicle. This is the place that is so filled with banality. You all, even as immortal as the potential for your soul is, age 20 years the moment you step out of the van and contemplate on how to get inside.
God, I don't miss these kinds of work. Alright, so, Hestia, I once told you that to get inside, best course of action is social engineering. Usually what that means is we either have someone on the inside to help us get in, or we act like we're supposed to be here. And people typically follow along. It's surprisingly effective, but I don't know if we have the time to be socializing about that, so if we want to speed the process along, I could just slip in through the cracks and make a way in for you, if you'd like.
Vivi gets out of the van, moving around to join this congregation of communication. And she pauses looking at the building and his neighbor and she taps your shoulder and points toward the first floor of each of the buildings. You notice that while each entryway, each first floor, each foyer of each of those buildings has a desk. If you look at 1, then 2, then 3, there's only one guard between the buildings, and it's clear that all of those buildings have the same security.
So it looks like all of these buildings are connected. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they are clearly connected and clearly patrolled by the same security company. And at this hour of the evening, who would want to break into a corporate park? So their security is designed just to keep those who don't belong out. If anyone works late, or if anyone has a reason to be in the building. And even if there is, it would take time for either the police or the security to make it here. Police are clearly busy as the coach house is the victim of an arson attack, and God knows what gas attack happened that caused all the windows to shatter and people to run screaming and there to be so much glass and devastation. It looks as if a SWAT team broke in there and just decided to tear the place up.
So, luck might be on our side if we want to try and act like we belong and just walk in. That, I think, is definitely Dizzy's forte. Less so mine.
What, just walking in places?
Convincing people that you belong there, I mean. Convincing them of anything, really.
I do have that way on people.
So I think while you two, or you three rather, looking at Estia, Dizzy, and Vivi, do that, I think I might have some trouble convincing them I belong here, so I might want to just sneak in and try and find the nearest surveillance area so that the alarm doesn't get sounded. Does that sound like a plan?
I guess. What am I supposed to tell the guy?
What about the truth? You were attacked. You're seeking help. And Vivi opens her arms, displaying the fact that you all are displaying bits and pieces of the many shattered and destroyed drinks, the many scrapes and scuffs of clothing from rushing so quickly in and out. The wash of glass splattering and shattering against you very much does make your clothing look well used.
I mean, wouldn't he just call the cops? We don't want him to call the cops.
But Lucio said he would take care of that.
The cops are already busy with the massive fire and gas leak down by the club. And I will make sure that no one sounds the alarm.
Jim, what do you think?
I mean, we can definitely use the help. We need help. Pretty women in distress get in, but once we're in, and if we need to make them forget or believe what we want, between Dizzy and I, I'm sure we can make them think the sky is purple and that their names are Napoleon if we really wanted to. So, I mean, I'm good with that.
Dizzy will dig into her bag and find some other clothing to put on that's not all ripped up and covered with glass. Say, all right, look, I got a plan. The three of you just go do what you need to do.
Right then. Lucio looks to the three of them. Everyone, I wish you good luck. And he's going to activate Tenebrous Avatar and begin making his way, sneaking in as basically a shadow on the wall.
God, I hate it when he does that.
That is truly disturbing.
Right? It's creepy as fuck.
Ooh, and the beast rises.
Where does that place your hunger at currently?
I believe at 2, since I slaked some hunger off of the one siren.
2. So not kicking down the door. Definitely letting you know that it's there. And there's something disconcerting about it. Like, there's a belief that the impulses of the kindred soul, the darker impulses, solidify into the being that exists slightly separate from you inside at the same time, that lives in the blood with you where the kindred soul resides. And it tends to take on aspects of those beings that you've known that embody those darker feelings. And it normally doesn't really speak to you outside of those voices, outside of those embodiments. And as it grows in intensity for Lucio, he hears himself. There's a need. It would be wrong to deny the need. It would be wrong to make yourself weak. How are you going to stand up for your ideals if you're weak? And as Lucio realizes that change, what Hestia and Dizzy and Vivi see, the idea is that Tenebrous Avatar is this quick, instantaneous change. And by most metrics, that's exactly what happens. But kindred are not living, so they get a chance to truly enjoy as Lucio's bones begin to melt away, his skin looking like melted wax and taking on the pallor and consistency of shadow. You literally have the opportunity of watching Lucio melt, his physical form melt into a two-dimensional state of being. And it is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the most innervating and creepy aspects of being able to tap into the world beyond. That's what it is. He's literally melting physical form into the distilled essence of death. And just as his face melts into this puddle of non-shadow, you see his eyes flicker red, this dark, baleful glow, and then nothing. It's a shadow slipping along the ground as silently as a nightmare. You know the nightmare, where all you need to do to be safe, to not let the monsters devour you, is to scream. And someone has managed to steal your voice, or someone has managed to steal your lips, or in the very worst examples of that night, you scream at the fullness of your lung, only to realize there's no one who cares. And so as that happens, Dizzy, how are you getting inside the building?
We'll go try the door.
Oh, it's after hours. But luckily, being a average height, waifish blonde gets the attention of the security guard. She is clearly the sort that would hold her line against the very choir of heaven's angel if they stepped wrong. If she felt they were off or if they were being sus. She is wide of back, strong of arm, and clearly built like a fire plug. Her hair clearly done most recently, fried, dyed, and laid to the side, and her towing the line of respectability as her shirt. It's very closely. You tell that her width and build of her arms isn't because of lack of strength. It isn't because she doesn't do anything. Unfortunate product of genes designed to ensure its immortality. She clearly would be the sort that may lift your truck or your car so you can get your flat tire off. There's a might to her that is undeniable. And as she door and unlock it, she stands in the doorway. Honey, what you doing over here this late?
You're not Steve.
Girl, what you talking about?
Is there a Steve on duty?
I don't know what you think you may be getting into, darling, but tonight is not the night for that. It really isn't. You trying to hook up with one of the guards, and I don't care whether you trying to hook up with the LT or not. That's just not going to happen tonight. Back to where you come from now.
I mean, you sure? I've already been paid for it.
Oh, child. You better make sure that the LT is no joke when it comes to being someone who is stiff. That man can talk himself out of paying for anything. You better check that credit card, girl. And she just takes a step back as if she's going to close the door and lock it.
I will throw up my awe.
You have her attention.
So, I don't know. I guess I'm going to be in trouble, but can I come in and use your bathroom real quick before I take the ride back to Chicago?
Girl, you drove all the way. You are just... What's wrong with y'all? That's just... Oh my God. Hang on. And she closes the door and locks. She moves back to the security desk and picks up this 6-inch piece of 2 by 8. On one end is a key ring with 2 keys on it. It is clearly the sort of thing that happens when too many people have either or taken the key from the premises. She comes back to the door, unlocks it. Girl, come on, let's get you. And as she does so, and as she's talking to Dizzy, and Dizzy's talking to her, what is it that Hestia and Vivi are doing?
Well, Hestia looks at Vivi and goes, well, I'm a botanist, not a spy, so what do we do now?
Well, it is clear that Dizzy is going to attempt to distract the guard, and Lucio is going to cut the security. Do you have the firearm I gave you? You didn't drop it, did you?
No.
Excellent. That was a gift. It was initially meant for you, but me and Arsenio traded our second best guns. So technically that's yours. We're going to go and rob Dizzy. The moment that she turns her back, we're going to go and we're going to kick open the door before they lock it and rob Dizzy and the guard. It'll keep Dizzy in their good graces. It'll get us inside the building, and hopefully, with Lucio giving time to get the security system disabled, we can all meet together and get what we need. She has her attention. Let's start moving.
Okay, do I look threatening at all? Okay, never mind, let's go.
Guns are always more threatening, especially if you've been shot by.
Tessia is entirely unsure, but follows Vivi's lead very carefully, keeping her hand on the gun, which is stuck into her waistband.
So as she unlocks the door for you, Dizzy, for the second time, come on in here. We gotta be quick because you're not supposed to be inside. Luckily, the bathrooms aren't actually on the camera. Everything upstairs is, but luckily we won't have to go to the elevator. Come on, let's get you to the bathroom.
Oh my God, you're a lifesaver. Thank you so much. They just dropped me off here and said I was supposed to come in and do the thing for Steve, but he's not here, so somebody fucked up.
Girl, everybody fucks up when it comes to that sort of thing. One, again, don't take business out here. There ain't nobody out here except for people that are trying to hustle or trying to shiesty their way through life. Girl, this whole town is just garbage. And the moment she says that, the door swings open before she has a chance to lock it behind you. Vivi and Hesh are standing there, guns akimbo. Everyone down on the floor now.
I squeal and hit the floor.
And as Dizzy
Lady, you too. Get out on the floor.
She is clearly torn. She's adding up things in her head, the sort of shocked response that most people don't ever realize they're in. And you can tell that there's a consideration. There's two of them, both have guns, but there's two of us is going through her head.
Look, I don't want to hurt you. Get down, like I said. I think I will shoot you.
Please don't get us to roll your manipulation. And while that's happening, Lucio, most people don't never get the opportunity of knowing what it's like to exist in that in-between state of the Tinnitus avatar. There's lots of talk about astral projection and separating one's conscience from one's body. As the coolness of the Shadowlands washes over you, wringing out every facsimile of life that the kindred operate under, there's a chill and a coolness that even while the beast is raised, is considerably less. It is like listening to a radio turned as loud as you can from the bottom of the pool. You know that it's there and you can hear the tempo and the music, but everything's muted. Everything's far calmer than it actually is. And even being at the bottom of a pool, not having the opportunity to truly breathe, having that fire build up in the chest as your air runs out, it's still incredibly far more peaceful than anything else.
Okay, wait, just manipulation, or was there something else?
Manipulation, intimidation.
You know, being in this form, Lucio has this weird idea of maybe it'd be interesting to just casually enter this form and meditate in it, but he decides to stow that thought away for later and focus on trying to figure out where the main security room is.
That was always one of the many benefits of having been exposed to several different layers and levels, the types of security in just the run of his average week, well, the run of his average month. There's a conformity of thought, including those places that think they're smarter than the average. They want the security office out of easy sight, but close enough to reach all of the doors of the building, to reach the stairwell, to reach the elevator. And it's usually located at the farthest end from the entryway. That conformity of thought has never failed. And this corporate park, much like hundreds of others across the Chicagoland area, has that same conformity of thought. They want the security there as a show and theater of safety, but they really don't want it to be dedicated. They don't really want them to be truly effective because they know that there's an impossibility of doing so. With what they pay their employees, it is just enough to keep them from having to go on the dole, as they used to say. Just enough to keep them from having to take public welfare. It is just enough to keep them employed. Just long enough for them to train their replacement. Especially including the overnight shifts. They put their problem children there. They rotate them with new hires to keep people motivated, because after all, if you work a little bit harder with that time differential, you'll eventually make an additional 3% more per year. Lucio slides along the floor, slides past the guard, moving. Strangely enough, he realizes what he's doing in this form has come so natural to him. Every direct, bright source of light has never occurred to him before, that even when not in this form, naturally stands in shadow. He naturally is just outside the bright center of most buildings he's in. He's always just outside of the main path of anything. Always occluded socially, physically, and it seems in this case potentially mentally, because he finds himself at the back of the building, having slowly crawled along the floor, creeping ichor, and there's no security up this. He backtracks and makes a left here and a right there, and it takes several passes by the empty signed door. There's no security, there's no main office, there's no monitoring signs at the door, but he crawls underneath the crack, and there are several screens lit in various places across the building. And as he, even in this form, is able to discern what's happening on the screens, realizes that there's a camera right behind the main security desk, and he watches as Dizzy and the security guard hit the ground with Hestia and Vivi holding guns.
Lucio is going to first see if there's anyone in this room.
No, there isn't. Everything's being auto and say.
Does Lucio notice anything that might be like an alarm or something? Does he have like any sort of suspicion that like an alarm might automatically get sounded?
No, this is the theater of safety. This is the standard theater that most people go through when they clock in. There's going to be someone at the front door who watching their badge swipe and making sure they're wearing their properly issued identification to say that they are valid entities. But the truth of the matter is, anyone during operating hours enter through that door. And once inside, it's almost impossible to get someone out if they really want to stay. And that the security guard is literally there just for the show, to give the people who own the companies or who operate the companies inside the many floors above the idea that they are a little safer. To be so kind as to roll your intelligence plus larceny. Or streetwise.
I think I have a specialty in larceny for security analysis. I do. Can I apply that?
Yes, of course.
think I have an idea of where this is going, but 3.
You don't have an idea where it's... This is a redundancy. The building security is secondary to the security for your target. This is being sent to a cloud-stored virtual disk, a virtual drive, where it'll be, emptied out once a week, once a month, whenever they get around to it. But right now, everything's being shipped offsite. However, like all security systems, there is a fail-safe just in case someone of importance or they need to make sure that certain information isn't released to the public. If you do so, you will inadvertently shut down the building. The lights will dim. The lines out that are connected with this VoIP will go down. However, knowing now that this redundant system that someone else has security over the building, what is it that Lucio is doing?
So this redundancy, does Lucio know if he does trip that failsafe, does he know if it will stop broadcasting?
Yep, all the cameras will go down. All the cameras will go down throughout the... And most systems like this have 10 minutes or 15 minutes where it has to be renewed. But there's a lot that you all can do in 10, 15 minutes.
I think it would be a good idea to set that then, to activate that.
All right, so Lucio reaches forward and does what you no one should do. It says, do not touch the button. Lucio pushes it, flicks a switch. Everything starts to shut down. The lights go dim. And as Dizzy and the security officer hit the ground at Heshia's urging, the lights flicker and dim to the point where it is barely visible more than 6 inches in front of one's face. They come back up just light enough to be able to plot foot. In that time, trying to utilize the flickering and dimming of the security guard attempts to get her feet under her so that she can launch a shot designed to knock whoever she hits back into their mother's womb.
Oh my God, you're gonna get us killed.
I'm assuming that we can, or I can at least see that. I don't know how well Vivian's night vision or dark vision is in the ghoul, but I know I can see that.
Yeah, so you and Dizzy both see it. You hear Dizzy yelling, panically.
I have to shoot her, aren't I? I don't want it. I'm gonna try to take her down so she doesn't hit one of us.
Alright, how are you gonna do that? You gonna shoot her? Or are you gonna smack her? Or are you gonna kick her? How are you gonna stop her from doing something heroically dumb?
I'm gonna go for the legs low and hit her with 100 strength, I guess.
Alright, strengthless brawl.
Oh no!
Okay.
Oh no.
There are some things that should never happen to good people. Luckily, no kindred is actually a good person. The constant prodding, probative nature of the beast crawling around in their slipping through their thoughts and pouncing when least expected ensures that more times than not. And as the fist connects with Hestia before she gets a chance to squat and sweep her leg, there is a triggering growl that comes from the deepest pit of Hestia's subconscious. It comes from the world inside her where the beast rules supreme. Now, the intent had been to drop the security officer painlessly, or relatively so. Nothing hurt but their pride. No harm, no foul. But the beast had other ideas. The beast does not want to take orders, especially when its body is being targeted by its food. It is literally as prideful and vainglorious as any other ruler of any other place. And it rules as far as it's concerned. This place, this body, your soul. And it lashes out as only the beast can. The growl causing the fangs to slap and snicked right into place. The bloody vitae-tinged saliva splattering as the gun goes clattering from Hestia's grip as she pounces upon the security officer with every intent to divest the security officer of everything that makes them living. And as the two ladies hit the ground, Hestia atop the security officer, having taken the blow to the face like only something undead can. It's 10:25. We'll be back here at 35. Everybody back?
I'm back, just combing out some yarn, so it's sitting here doing a craft while I'm waiting.
I'm
I
here.
am here.
Excellent. So, with Hestia atop the security officer, Vivi looks to Dizzy. And while the cameras are out, Lucio exiting the rear security room amidst the noise and hiss and holler of the beast venting itself in the way that only the beast can. What is it that Dizzy and Lucio do?
Dizzy is going to grab the security guard's arm and go ahead and bite into it because she's hungry anyway.
I'm assuming Lucio doesn't see any of this now, right?
Not just yet. After Hestia's action, Lucio should be exiting from the rear of the building to find Dizzy, Fang deep. And depending on Hestia's action, how far she skids into her beast, maybe Fang is deep as well.
Okay, because Lucio's intention would be to try and start, like, searching the building for the intel they need, but his reaction might change upon seeing this.
So Hess, is Hestia going to give her beast vent? It needs this. Or is she going to attempt to resist it? She's going to attempt to squeeze it back into that box inside her. She keeps locked as often as possible.
Well, now that Dizzy has kind of taken this moment to feed, Hestia realizes that somebody with speed is going to need to help search the building, so she is going to do her best to squeeze the beast back into the bottle so that she can search.
Okay. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll 130 in your willpower?
1/3 of humanity in willpower? Is that what you said?
Yes. Because there's a scent to blood that most humans find not quite enjoyable. That scent, however, is like ringing a dinner bell. And it's letting you know that dinner is served, meat's back on the menu, and that heaven is but a bite away. The beast knows that scent and it craves it. The beast knows that scent and rouses. The beast knows that scent and it is right there. Hestia is able to hold back. And it's not the most difficult thing they've done. But being honest, it is always impossible in the moment. Fighting the beast back into its cage. Fighting the beast back from seizing what is there for it. The scent of the guards, lovely, rich. Vitae, its blood, the guards, is delicious. The guard is prone to acts of bravery. He's a passionate individual, and that much is innocent from memory of having tasted similar. Hestia's mouth waters, but she forces herself back away from the guard. Fangs deep into the guard's wrist, while not nearly as intimate as other places to sink their fangs into. It is heaven in a glass, bright and full of life, filled with strength, and it coats Dizzy's throat in only the way the loving taste of blood can. Does Dizzy attempt to drink her fill? Or does Dizzy try to force herself up?
She's at hunger 3. I think her intention is to go to 1.
Being as it was turning into the skid and feeding the beast just enough before it gets a chance to take full control of her, it's easier. But easier is a thing that is only dependent upon how hard it is. It is, in fact, the most difficult thing to do with the taste coating the tongue, the life being absorbed with a brief few glimmers and mirroring of the pleasure the guard is beneath. Because the kiss is both pleasurable not only for the kindred, but for their prey. And the guard really is a person's food life, filled with the enjoyment of the moment, filled many raucous nights when they're not working, where they are living the best moments, and that is tempting. Vivi's no longer aiming, her gun hanging limply by her side as Lucio appears out of the shadows. It's as if the shadows are allowing him to drip and dribble from them. Finding dizzy, pulling herself away from heaven and the scent of it, and the look on Hesha's face, the look on Vivi's face, and the pleasure on Dizzy's, with the guard still rolling in that pleasure. What does Lucio do? What does Lucio say?
I hope you won't let them remember this.
No, but we need to get in and get out for what we came for. That was really close.
Alright. We'll
Is
deal
the
with
guard-
them later.
Is the guard still conscious?
Oh, she's conscious, but it's that post-coital bliss. Not the post-coital that makes you want to get up and fix a sandwich, but that post-coital that makes you want to languor a bit, where the nap is clearly just there to be had if you just close your eyes for a hot second. You don't want to go completely to sleep. You don't want to sleep for 10, 20 hours, but definitely the limbs are heavy. Eyelids are filled with images and sensations just had. The pleasure that is indescribable and that you want more of, but just 5 minutes, 3 minutes even. Just let it wash over you.
Yeah, I bought us some time by switching on some sort of failsafe. Got, I don't know how much time exactly, but at least 15 minutes before anyone can actually start seeing us again. So in that time, let's get a move on, comb this building, find what's important. You didn't happen to get anything out of the guard that might tell us where we might start looking, right?
It's something about the upper floors, but there's more than one company, I guess, in this building.
And there's 3 buildings connected.
Yeah, but this seems to be the one where the technology is from. The lady said, I don't know, she was really scared.
Well, let's get started.
Lucia, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your resolve investigation? Hesha, would you be so kind as to roll your intelligence plus investigation if you have investigation? If not, you can roll insight. Dizzy, much the same.
Resolve an investigation, you said?
Yes.
Would a specialty in criminology apply here or no?
No, it's not a company of criminals. Legally. Everything they do is above board, at least as far as anyone can tell.
I'm gonna burn a willpower on this one.
Okay.
Try as I might, nothing comes of it.
Okay, 3, 6, 8, and 5 is... Okay, so there are some things and sometimes when things just align there's a certain kismet to it all. And as you all traipse through the buildings, because the elevators don't work and have to take the stairs, there's the opportunity to discuss amongst yourselves the reality of where you all are. In the belly of the beast, you are in the home of Intelligence Management Resource, a company that is designed to test others' defenses. And as you all take the stairs, you realize something very, very important. This is the corporate headquarters. All three buildings are part of the company. And as you all reach the top floor and cycle through and check drawers and check what looks like a CEO or CFO offices, you find good old-fashioned paperwork. Find the HR office. Find addresses for the upper management members of the company, including the owner. And the fact that the owner himself lives in Arlington Heights seems far too ridiculous to be believed. You see the insurance paperwork and realize that the owner of the company too. You see the tax paperwork, and you know that the insurance paperwork is accurate. And most glaringly, even though companies are not supposed to, you get pictures of their ID and their security. You now have in your possession, and depending on how you choose to save it, whether you take the documentation or just take pictures of it, the keys to the kingdom. You can apply direct pressure or indirect pressure. You know where the head of the beast resides.
Hestia is going to take the paper list of the addresses and just take pictures of the rest. She's not going to use the camera phone. She's going to use the camera that she used trying to catch Blakeney that time.
Lucio's gonna break out his notepad and start writing down those security codes while Hestia's doing that, as well as any relevant addresses and names.
Everything has a cost. There's a cost for doing business and doing business well. You all are ahead of the curve because you all have roughly 4.5-5 minutes before everything comes back online. But here's the question. In your traipsing through the building, in your search, did Lucio share that the information was being offloaded to cloud store, that this actual security system for the building, the one that you can access from the security offices, is the redundant, is the backup, is the main shutoff, but it's also just the backup. There is another system that is also and had also been collecting that information.
I would have shared that, I believe, along the way.
Dizzy, being one of the road, having quelled the beast considerably more and being full in your most standard sense of satiation. There's always that little hunger there. There's always that little push. But there's a certain clarity of thought that comes when one is not worried about their hunger, whether it be the kindred's hunger or the human hunger. Hunger is the most distracting thing that we have inside other pain. In the clarity of thought and knowing that the information was being stored off site, everything that happened could be or is viewed by someone else. You know how these things work. You know that while it would be illegal to have a private military force at your display or having other less than reputable means of defending oneself, people don't buy bullets from guns they have no. abuse it. And having a redundant security system is something that would naturally cause people to watch it.
So we're like sure the cameras are out, right?
I switched to failsafe, and they went out.
But probably for here only, and we need to find out where that redundancy is going to. So is there any information here real quick? Find out where they keep the original?
I don't want to worry anyone. But with the security system being down, did it go down before we came through the door with guns? Vivi says, looking out the window.
Probably not. It went down when the lights went out. We should probably get out of here, right? Is that what you're getting at?
I'm thinking we should find the kid.
Were there cameras there? Because she was pretty okay with letting me in because she said it wouldn't be on camera to go to the bathroom.
There was a camera. I actually saw you in the
Huh. She really sucks at her job then.
There are 4 dark SUVs pulling in the lot. We need to find another way out. And Vivi turns, and there's a very easy to pin down smile on her. It's a smile of, fuck, we're in it now. And with that image being emblazoned on everyone's mind, with the reality of where you are and what may lay ahead, I'd like to thank you all for a lovely session. And I look forward to seeing you guys in season 11. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you for the session.
Night all.